It is 7:58 p.m., June 25th, 2021. Tweetie voice. U.S. intelligence community releases long-awaited UFO report, CNN reports. Neil deGrasse Tyson weighs in on UFO reports. CNN.
Who else might be out there? There's been so much focus on UFOs because of the reports on 60 Minutes first from the Navy pilots.
The U.S. intelligence community on Friday released its long-awaited report on what it knows about a series of mysterious flying objects that have been seen moving through restricted military airspace over the last several decades. In short, the answer, according to Friday's report, is very little. But the intelligence community's release of the unclassified documents marks one of the first times the U.S. government has publicly acknowledged that these strange aerial sightings by Navy pilots and others are worthy of legitimate scrutiny. The report examined 144 reports of what the government terms unidentified aerial phenomenon, only one of which investigators were able to explain by the end of the study. Investigators found no evidence that the sightings represented other extraterrestrial life or a major technological advancement by a foreign adversary like Russia or China, but acknowledged that it is a possible explanation. We were able to identify one reported UAP with high confidence. In that case, we identified the object as a long deflating balloon. The others remain unexplained, the report says, using the Pentagon's terminology for UFOs. Of the 144 reports we are dealing with here, we have no clear indications that there is any non-terrestrial explanation for them, but we will go wherever the data takes us, as U.S. officials said. But investigators were also convinced that the majority of the sightings were physical objects. The official told reporters on Friday. We absolutely do believe what we're seeing are not simply sensor artifacts. These are things that physically exist, the official said, noting that 80% of the reported incidents included data from multiple sensors. In 11 cases, pilots reported a near-miss collision with these strange objects. Investigators stymied by unusual flight characteristics. Still, the 9-page report makes clear that more work must be done to identify these objects, as the limited amount of high-quality reporting on unidentified aerial phenomena hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of UAP. Investigators were particularly stymied by a limited number of incidents where UFOs reportedly appeared to exhibit unusual flight characteristics. According to the report, which notes these observations could be the result of sensor error, spoofing, or observer misperception and require additional rigorous analysis. Some UAP appear to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, move at considerable speed, without discernible means of propulsion. In a small number of cases, military aircraft systems process radio frequency energy associated with UAP sightings, it says. But despite that challenge, the report does conclude that these objects clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to U.S. national security. Safety concerns primarily center on aviators contending with an increasingly cluttered air domain. UAP would also represent a national security challenge if they are foreign adversary collection platforms, or provide evidence of potential adversaries developed either a breakthrough or disruptive technology, it says. Worrying for national security professionals, the report also found that the sightings were clustered around U.S. training and testing grounds, but investigators downplay those concerns, assessing that this may result from collection bias as a result of focused attention. Greater numbers of latest generation sensors operating in those environments, unit expectations, and guidance to report anomalies. Still, the Pentagon said in a statement after the report's release that it plans to formalize the study of UFOs. A memo from Deputy Secretary Kathleen Hicks instructed the Office of the Undersecretary for Defense for Intelligence and Security to create a formal mission for the work currently done by the UAP Task Force. Hicks framed it as a question of national security, saying it is critical that the United States maintain operational security and safety at DoD ranges, noting that many of the observations have been near military areas. Hicks called for reports of UAP observations to be ready within 2 weeks of an occurrence or observation. CNN Politics, 8 p.m., June 25th, 2021. Tweetie. The New York Times reports, Trump Organization could face criminal charges in DA inquiry. An indictment of the Trump Organization could mark the first criminal charges to emerge from an investigation by the Manhattan District Attorney into Donald J. Trump and his business dealings. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office, June 25th, 2021, by William Rushbaum, Ben Protest, and Jonah Bromwich. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has informed Donald J. Trump's lawyers that it is considering criminal charges against his family business, the Trump Organization, in connection with the fringe benefits the company awarded to the top executive. According to several people with knowledge of the matter, the prosecutors had been building a case for months against the executive Alan H. Weisenberg as part of an effort to pressure him to cooperate with the broad inquiry into Mr. Trump's business dealings, but it was not previously known that the Trump Organization also might face charges. If the case moves ahead, the District Attorney, Cyrus R. Vance Jr., would announce charges as soon as next week. The people said Mr. Vance's prosecutors have been conducting an investigation along with lawyers from the Office of the New York State Attorney General, Letitia James. And the indictment would be the first to emerge from the long-running investigation, would raise the startling and prospect of a former president having to defend the company he founded and has run for decades, accused against accusations of criminal behavior. Prosecutors recently have focused much of their investigation into the person Mr. Trump and the company doled out to Mr. Weisselberg and other executives, including tens of thousands of dollars in private school tuition for one of Mr. Weisselberg's grandchildren, as well as rents on apartments and car leases. They are looking into whether those benefits were properly recorded in the company's ledgers and whether taxes were paid on them, the New York Times has reported. Mr. Trump's lawyers met on Thursday with senior senior prosecutors in the district attorney's office in hopes of persuading them to abandon the plan to charge the company, according to several people familiar with the meeting. Such meetings are routine in white-collar criminal investigations, and it is unclear whether the prosecutors have made a final decision on whether to charge the Trump organization, which has long denied wrongdoing. In my more than 50 years of practice, never before have I seen a district attorney's office target a company over employee compensation or fringe benefits, said Ronald P. Fischetti, a personal lawyer for Mr. Trump. It's ridiculous and outrageous. Several lawyers who specialize in tax rules have told the New York Times that it would be highly unusual to indict a company just for failing to pay taxes and fringe benefits. None of them could cite any recent example, noting that many companies provide their employees with benefits that company cause. Still, an indictment of Mr. Trump's company could deal a blow to the former president, just as he has started to hold rallies and flirt with the return to politics. The Trump organization, inseparable from Mr. Trump, acting as a corporate umbrella for a portfolio of hotels, golf clubs, and other real estate, much of which are branded with his name. It is unclear whether Mr. Trump will ultimately face charges himself. The investigation, which began 3 years ago, has been wide-ranging, examining whether the Trump organization manipulated the value of its properties to obtain favorable loans and tax benefits. People with knowledge of the matter have said The inquiry is also examining the organization's statements to insurance companies about the value of various assets and any role that its employees, including Mr. Weisselberg, may have played in hush money payments to two women during the 2016 presidential campaign. The New York Times, 8:06 p.m., June 25th,